They actually skipped November. Now
I did that for years up in Fort Wayne, it's not good.
I
I
can
don't,
send it
I,
because I
I.
can.
It was bad as that FISA
Yeah,
report
I'm
was
only
bad.
45, I don't know why I look so.
But I'll walk across the street and watch him play something.
Oh, shoot. We got 18 now.
Military time,
Actually, I was in international for 22 years, I got used to it. Be amazed how screwed up things get.
huh? So Diane, did you enjoy the course? I thought it was pretty good.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
It was
it.
really interesting to see their perspective and, you know, and what all they do and,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I enjoyed the wives where they talk about how they eat out of town, you know, because you never know who's serving
Yeah, that
the
was
food
this
and all that
last
kind of stuff,
Thursday, yeah.
Oh,
Can't
yeah,
forget it.
I forgot about
The police will eat out of town because people they've arrested often work in the restaurants. So, I leave it to your imagination what may happen from there.
it. I don't want to know. Probably why we don't eat with them.
True. Okay, I think we're ready. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's planning meeting. We're officially under order, and with that, we need approval of the minutes.
Mr. President, I've read the minutes. If there are no objections or comments, I move approval.
So moved,
Second?
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oral and written reports, I see none there. Unfinished business, I see none. That's still correct? All right, new business, we have a resolution, and I'd ask if everybody can hear me, but there's nobody here. So we'll just press on. Everybody's official. Jeremy?
We don't count.
Good evening. Yes, you do have before you Resolution 2019-1101. This resolution is creating two new residential economic development areas. I think we talked a little bit about this at the last Plan Commission meeting. It has gone before the Redevelopment Commission. What you are doing is basically approving the Redevelopment Commission's submission declaring the north and the south residential economic development areas. You'll have a map of both areas in here, as well as both economic development plans for each district. Your approval will then go before the City Council and the School Board, and then back to the Redevelopment Commission in December. I can talk more if you want.
I
Is there
was
any
just
questions
waiting.
on
I
that?
was waiting for your signal, sir. I didn't hear thank you, or you can now vote, or anything like that.
We're waiting for the big finish.
The big finish.
Yeah.
Certainly, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but you have the maps. And kind of like what we talked about before, we're targeting residential growth in these two districts. Both these districts would put potential students in school districts. Eisenhower being the more prominent one that needs students. Obviously, we understand that Harrison has students, but it's also the area that has the most developable property for residential or new residential. Primarily, the districts will be targeted for single-family development. It's not to say that there won't be some multifamily, but primarily the target areas are for single-family. We'd like to see some mixed-use density residential developments, so that wouldn't necessarily preclude some mixed use within these areas in terms of residential mixed use. But primarily, like I said, it is the single-family that we're targeting for new home
And so
construction.
a lot of this you're saying is in the Harrison Husky area?
Yes.
Okay, you know, and Jeff knows this better than me, but the traffic there is pretty stiff. Is that getting any consideration?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
As we continue to develop that area, we'll look at ways to improve traffic improvements throughout the corridor, including Parker, Husky Trail, 225 East. If you look at the actual development plans, and this is not an all-inclusive list for each area, but each area has an economic development plan, and in that plan there are improvements. So you'll see some sanitary sewer pipe along 225 East, extension of sanitary sewer Menard subdivision, intersection improvements along Husky Trail to accommodate additional traffic efficiencies within the corridor, lane additions if necessary along Husky Trail, Parker, and North Point, so,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I go to the Y there just about every day, and if you're anytime around when school lets out or around, you know, people get off work, I mean, it's, as you know, pretty intense.
yeah, Husky Trail, we need to look at potential intersection improvements, but it has to correlate with what NDOT's doing, and it has to all work. We have a traffic study that's being completed now for that corridor from Parker all the way to North Point Drive. So we're just waiting to see what some of the possibilities are.
Well, I would hope it would go beyond that, all the way up to, what is that, 200 north? With the
Well,
intersection?
200 North is already in the comprehensive plan to get a roundabout at some point in time. A lot of that will hinge on the economic development plan for the Northern TIF district, which encompassed the Eastern TIF district last year, so now it's one TIF district. That economic development plan has in it improvements within that industrial park, the airport industrial park, including potential roundabout at 200 and Husky Trail. Right now, the first project is obviously getting the sanitary sewer in the ground, which there is about 18,000 feet of sanitary sewer going in the ground throughout the industrial park and will be for the next year and a half now. So August of next year, it's supposed to be completed. Once that's completed, then we'll tackle the next projects within that district, which will probably be 200. We have gotten NDOT funding for Anchorage Road from 15 to just past Biomet Drive. And then our segment would be from Biomet Drive back to 200. At some point, we need to redesign that section, which will probably include some road widening, some turn lanes, and then a roundabout at 200. Almost kind of a carbon copy of what we're doing on 300, between 300 and Sheldon.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Chairman, would you like us to vote on this as well?
Yes, so you'd be approving this, the resolution approving what the redevelopment commission has approved, and then the council will be approving your resolution. It's a domino effect. The school board will be approving the plan commission and the councils and the redevelopment commission's recommendations, and then it'll go back before the redevelopment commission in December.
So we're basically going to make a motion to approve resolution 2019-11-01.
Yes.
So moved.
So moved?
Yes.
Seconded? I'll second that. Seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Chairman, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is the preliminary and final subdivision for North Buffalo Street. Justin?
Yeah, so this is for the Waterworks subdivision. The preliminary and final plat for the Waterworks subdivision has been submitted in a timely fashion and reviewed for its conformity to the subdivision control ordinance. The proposed plat includes vacating a number of alleys and right-of-ways. This plat is necessary reconfiguration of the existing lots in order to make the land more conducive to mixed-use development. The proposed plat has been approved by the Board of Works and the Redevelopment Commission. So since this proposed plat does not include the addition of any public infrastructure, I recommend that the Plan Commission grant preliminary and final approval for the proposed plat.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions on that?
I'm just a little confused on where Lot 2 begins and ends, because it looks like it's in the middle of the street.
So lot 2 is the right, Jeremy can.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I didn't think I was misreading it, but I wasn't sure. So that would just be the right-of-way. Or, I mean, they're not going to block off the new street we just built, are they?
Well, we didn't build Canal Street. Canal Street was there, so
Okay.
we didn't make any improvements to Canal Street. The simple answer would be I don't know yet. So we're creating this subdivision for 2 reasons: to legally define the lots that could be developed as part of the mixed-use property. I'm not saying that Canal Street will or won't be a part of that development, but now that once we put it in a lot form and moving forward with the potential developer, we'll have those conversations about what the end product is along there in terms of the mixed-use building.
So it could be possible that there'd be a loop, that Indiana Buffalo Street loop that doesn't really have a name at this point, that goes along the lake, and you might be able to go down Canal part way, and that could be then blocked off there?
No, most likely, if anything, it would enter into the development itself. It would have an exit and enter, but it wouldn't be a road going through. So
Okay, I
you could
was
still
just-
enter into that and then exit back out onto Buffalo Street, but it may not be a road. If that makes sense. It could
Okay,
be
I was
become
just
part of the
concerned about that being blocked off in
It's
there.
not gonna be a cutoff, so you wouldn't be coming, you wouldn't be able to, you could still get over to Buffalo Street, but you'd be driving potentially through a parking lot to do so.
Okay,
Maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
that's all left to be seen with the development that they're proposing. They're still configuring that site to meet the needs of the development.
and would that come back before us again then, before something went there, or not
It
necessarily?
would come back before, it would go through the process that is necessary to dispose of the property for the development. So not to the plan commission, but it would go to those legislative voters, whether it be the Board of Works or the City Council, would go before them, or it could be the redevelopment commission. It would go before those bodies for disposal, if it were to be released for development.
Okay,
Diane, I'll admit, about a month ago on the Board of Works, I've seen a lot of these, and that was something that I was concerned about, but options for the developer, so, and the needs of the developer, my understanding, so, but yeah, good you saw it, because it got my attention too. So.
And it cleans up a lot of the lot. Right now, you just have an old subdivision that's been overlaid throughout the years with different developments that didn't necessarily line up with what was out there. So this cleans up that in terms of legally describing what would potentially be disposed.
Did you see in there what it looked, okay, good. So, yeah,
Okay.
there was another, I didn't know, but that's why, so, but good catch there.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Does the city own that red house directly south of the waterworks plant? Is that privately owned still?
Directly south, the red house.
There's a red siding right there where Canal Street intersects with Buffalo Street.
North of, so you're talking about the Seaver property? No.
Okay.
That property would be part of Matthews Development, and it would be up to him to acquire that property. It'd be part of the Matthews development, the townhomes and city homes development,
Yeah.
and it'd be up to Dave Matthews to acquire that
Okay.
property.
Okay, so it's still in private hands.
That's correct. He has not acquired that property.
Any other questions? I think we have to amend the rules again. We're gonna do a preliminary and final, correct?
I'm not arguing that. I think you want to, what you say.
That's a safe assumption, I assume, Jeremy.
What's that?
We have to amend the rules to do the preliminary and then the final.
Yeah, I mean, the subdivision ordinance allows you to do that in absence of any infrastructure that would be placed in the ground.
Okay.
I think Jim Grove's kind of our resident expert on that.
I move to approve the preliminary plat.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Preliminary is approved.
I move that we.
Diane actually.
Oh, yeah,
she's
Diane's,
really
yeah,
good
go
at
ahead,
this.
Diane. I learned,
She just coming around
I
on
actually,
this.
Rick, I learned from Diane.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules to vote on the final plat.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We
I'll
have
make a
amended the
motion for approval of the final plat.
Seconded.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have approved the preliminary and final.
I was so overawed by a skill, I forgot myself for a second.
Go, Dave.
We're gonna have to pass out cards pretty soon, what everybody does. With that, any other matters before?
We did not.
To adjourn.
So moved, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We stand in adjournment. Thank you all. Bundle up tonight.
Yeah.
We're just setting records all over.
Thanks, Jeremy, for all your work on these. Hey, aggressive. Good job.
Oh, you capture one, yeah. I did. I put it all in your file, I think the bank is good. What's it? Oh, it's all right. Take care. Actually, it was colder too. Yeah.
Yeah, Diane, I didn't want them to know, I learned that from you, I had to admit it.